Hi everyone, and welcome back to the PACE podcast, Setting the Pace. I am Ipsita Bhattacharya, your host and moderator for today's conversation. This podcast is created by the Pacific Autism Center for Education, or PACE, where our mission is to enhance the lives of people impacted by autism through innovation, exceptional education, and compassionate care. In each episode, we share real stories, practical tools, and voices from our community so that families, educators, and caregivers feel a little more informed, a little more supported, and a little less alone. Today, I'm joined by a very special guest, 𝗀𝗍𝗄𝗃. Kanisha is a dedicated educator at PACE with 9 years of experience supporting students with autism, including roles such as an ABA therapist, instructional aide, and classroom teacher. She is known for building strong, trusting relationships with her students and creating a supportive, student centered learning environment. Kanisha brings expertise in classroom management, behavior support, and communication strategies. She is deeply committed to helping each student feel safe, understood, as well as motivated to learn. Outside the classroom, she enjoys playing the piano and the French horn. Today's conversation is focused on building meaningful rapport with students with autism and how strong relationships can support learning, communication, and overall growth. So, Kanisha, the first moments with a student can really shape the entire relationship. I would love to start there. When a student first joins your classroom, what does that initial process of building trust and rapport look like for you?
During the first few days, I try to do everything I can to help a new student feel comfortable. Their sense of safety and comfort is my top priority because I know that meaningful learning and relationships can only happen once that foundation is in place. So we try to really focus on strategies that support regulation for our students, such as having visuals available, using a calm and positive low tone of voice, and then modeling regulation ourselves, like taking deep breaths, maybe when a student is starting to become dysregulated, paying close attention to what the student seems interested in and what brings them joy. So during those first few days, I spend a lot of time observing. I look for what the student is naturally drawn to, what they choose to engage with independently, and what their preferences seem to be. In many ways, I try to follow their lead at first just to make them feel comfortable. We do have individualized visual schedules prepared so that students can see what their day will look like, which does help to reduce anxiety and create predictability for many of our students. However, at the same time, I recognize that some students simply might not be ready to jump right into a brand new school routine, and that's totally okay. For some students, those first few days might involve spending more time outside, engaging in lower demand activities, or simply just exploring their new environment as they get to know their school. I find that parallel play, commenting on what a student is doing, and showing genuine interest in their preferred activities are often some of the most effective ways to build trust and rapport. So rather than expecting students to come into our world right away, I try to meet them where they are and show them that this is a safe space where they are understood and valued.
That's such an important reminder that connection doesn't always begin with words. It can start with presence, observation, and shared space. So, Kanisha, building on that, many educators work with students who may be nonverbal or could take longer to respond. How do you begin to form those early connections in those situations?
I've always communicated with my nonverbal students in the same way that I would with my students who speak verbally. They all understand so much of what we're saying. So during those early moments with the new students, I make sure to offer them a variety of choices. I show them visual choice boards, and I might model responses based on what they're showing interest in if they don't initiate that communication themselves. For example, if a nonverbal student might be walking toward the door, I might verbally model for them, I want to go, to show them that I see what they are trying to do, and then show them the choice board of available locations we can go to. If a student might be turning away from something I present to them or walking away from me, I might verbally model for them, "I don't want to," or "I'm all done," to show them that I see that they don't want to participate. And then I might reply to that model by saying, "That's okay, we'll come back when we're ready." Our nonverbal students always really benefit from being given wait time as well, at least 30 seconds or so for them to process what was said to them or shown to them, for them to identify how they want to respond, and then for them to actually make that response, whether it's their communication device or pointing. It's really important to show our students that what they have to communicate to us matters and that it is important, whether it's through verbal communication, an AAC device, gesturing or facial expressions, or even pointing and hand leading us to what they need.
That really highlights how meaningful even the smallest interactions can be. Sometimes those early signs of connections are very subtle. From your experience, Kanisha, how do you recognize when a student is beginning to trust you, even if it doesn't look like a traditional form of communication?
I've learned that trust can look very different from student to student, especially with our mild to severe population, our students who might be nonverbal. There isn't a universal sign or set of signs that tells us the student trusts us. It's really about noticing small changes in the way that they interact with their environment and with us. Some of our new students come in and they're ready to engage right away. They seem to enjoy meeting new people, participating in activities, and building relationships. Other students might be more reserved, they might be more frustrated or dysregulated or even anxious as they adjust to a brand new school setting. And for some of those students, building trust can take days, weeks, or even longer. So those first signs of trust are usually pretty subtle. A student might begin to respond to teacher or staff directions with fewer prompts. They might become more willing to participate in their routines and activities. They might start to seek out interactions with staff members, maybe by holding hands, making eye contact with us, smiling, sharing their items with us, or simply choosing to be in the same space as us to show us that they trust us. Especially with our nonverbal students, it's important to pay close attention to their individual ways of communicating. They might communicate through their body language, through increased engagement, reduced anxiety, or just willing to let an adult into their world. When we notice and honor those small moments is when we start to see the foundation of a meaning relationship with that student being built.
That's such a powerful way to look at trust showing up in small, quiet ways. As those relationships grow stronger, I'm curious how you have seen that impact the student overall. How does building strong rapport influence learning, behavior, and engagement over time?
Building strong rapport really impacts every aspect of a student's school experience. When students feel comfortable, safe, and understood, they're often more regulated, and as a result, they're more available for learning. So before we can expect our students to engage in academics, they really need to feel secure in their environment and in their relationships with the adults supporting them. Strong rapport also has a huge impact on communication. When students learn that their communication is valued and respected, they're more likely to continue using it. That communication might look different for every student. It might be using their AAC device, gestures, sign language, vocalizations, eye contact, or any other form of communication. When students see that their attempts to communicate are acknowledged and responded to, they're encouraged to keep building those skills. Rapport also influences behavior over time. Many behaviors are a form of communication, especially for our students who have limited ways to express their needs. As students develop trust in the adults around them, they learn that their needs will be heard and supported. Because of that, they often have less of a need to engage in challenging behaviors to communicate any discomfort, frustration, or unmet needs. So ultimately, when students trust us, they're more willing to take risks, try new things, communicate, engage with their learning, and build relationships. Building meaningful rapport is the foundation that makes their learning possible.
So, this connection between trust and learning is so important, and it really speaks to the heart of the work that you do, Kanisha. So, for those listening, especially educators or families who may be finding it challenging to connect, what's the one piece of advice that you would share with them that will help them to build this relationship better?
If I could give one piece of advice about building relationships with someone who has autism, it would be to meet them where they are, to really focus on getting to know them as an individual and understanding their unique strengths and interests, as well as their needs. It's important to show through your actions that you care about them and are there to support them. So, the strongest relationships with our students are built when our students feel accepted and understood for who they are. I'd also emphasize the importance of patience, especially because trust with our students doesn't develop overnight. It's almost always built through small and consistent interactions over time. So, something as simple as honoring a student's bid for communication, showing interest in what they enjoy, following through on what you say, and just being a calm and reliable presence in their life can have a huge impact. Um, so at the end of the day, relationship building with our students isn't about getting them to connect with us on our terms or getting them to do what we need them to do. It's about creating a space where they feel safe enough to connect with us in their own way and in their own time.
Thank you, Kanisha, for sharing your insights and experiences with us today. For all our listeners, if you would like to learn more about PACE, do visit us at pacificautism.org or follow us on social media for updates on new episodes and resources. Thank you once again for listening to Setting the Pace. We are glad you're here and we hope you'll join us for the rest of this journey. Signing out.